Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Eagerly desirous. Dying to hear who won. The time when something ends. A dying of old hopes. In or associated with the process of passing from life or ceasing to be. A dying man. Eagerly desirous. Anxious to see the new show at the museum. Causing or fraught with or showing anxiety. Spent an anxious night waiting for the test results. The time at which life ends, continuing until dead. She stayed until his death. The time when something ends. It was the death of all his plans. The event of dying or departure from life. Her death came as a terrible shock. A final state. The absence of life or state of being dead. He seemed more content in death than he had ever been in life. The act of killing. He had 2 deaths on his conscience. The permanent end of all life functions in an organism or part of an organism. The animal died a painful death. The personification of death. The time when something ends. Transfer by a lease or by a will. A high wave, often dangerous, caused by tidal flow, as by colliding tidal currents or in a narrow estuary. Having or showing keen interest or intense desire or impatient expectancy. Eager to learn. Not growing or changing, without force or vitality. Being on the point of death, breathing your last. A moribund patient. Persist for a specified period of time. The bad weather lasted for 3 days. The time at which life ends, continuing until dead. A struggle to the last. The item at the end. Last, I'll discuss family values. Not to be altered or undone. The arbiter will have the last say. Holding device shaped like a human foot that is used to fashion or repair shoes. The temporal end, the concluding time. Continue to live and avoid dying. How long can a person last without food and water? Occurring at or forming an end or termination. The last days of the dinosaurs. Conclusive in a process or progression. A last resort. Highest in extent or degree. To the last measure of human endurance. Lowest in rank or importance. Last prize. The final stage or concluding parts of an event or occurrence. I had to miss the last of the movie. A person's dying act, the final thing a person can do. He breathed his last. A unit of capacity for grain equal to 80 bushels. A unit of weight equal to 4,000 pounds. Coming after all others in time or space or degree or being the only one remaining. The last time I saw Paris. Immediately past. Last Thursday. Most unlikely or unsuitable. The last person we would have suspected. Occurring at the time of death. His last words. The last or lowest in an ordering or series. He was the last to leave. Event whose occurrence ends something. His death marked the ending of an era. The end of a word, a suffix or inflectional ending or final morpheme. I don't like words that have ism as an ending. The act of ending something. The last section of a communication. The point in time at which something ends. The ending of warranty period. A piece of cloth that is left over after the rest has been used or sold. Bring to an end or halt. She ended their friendship when she found out that he had once been convicted of a crime. Be the end of. Be the last or concluding part of. This sad scene ended the movie. The state of affairs that a plan is intended to achieve and that, when achieved, terminates behavior intended to achieve it. The ends justify the means. The last section of a communication. The point in time at which something ends. The end of the year. Have an end, in a temporal, spatial, or quantitative sense, either spatial or metaphorical. My property ends by the bushes. The final stage or concluding parts of an event or occurrence. The end was exciting. A final state. He came to a bad end. Either extremity of something that has length. The end of the pier. A boundary marking the extremities of something. The end of town. A final part or section. We have given it at the end of the section since it involves the calculus. American football. A position on the line of scrimmage. No one wanted to play end. Football. The person who plays at one end of the line of scrimmage. The end managed to hold on to the pass. One of two places from which people are communicating to each other. The phone rang at the other end. Put an end to. The terrible news ended our hopes that he had survived. The part you were expected to play. He held up his end. The surface at either extremity of a three-dimensional object. One end of the box was marked, this side up. Of great gravity or crucial import, requiring serious thought. Grave responsibilities. A mark, placed above a vowel to indicate pronunciation. Dignified and somber in manner or character and committed to keeping promises. A grave God-fearing man. Carve, cut, or etch into a material or surface. Engrave a pen. Shape, a material like stone or wood, by whittling away at it. A place for the burial of a corpse, especially beneath the ground and marked by a tombstone. He put flowers on his mother's grave. Causing fear or anxiety by threatening great harm. A grave situation. Death of a person. He went to his grave without forgiving me. The experience of being alive, the course of human events and activities. He could no longer cope with the complexities of life. The condition of living or the state of being alive. While there's life, there's hope. An account of the series of events making up a person's life. The period during which something is functional, as between birth and death. The battery had a short life. Animation and energy in action or expression. It was a heavy play and the actors tried in vain to give life to it. A prison term lasting as long as the prisoner lives. He got life for killing the guard. A characteristic state or mode of living. Social life. A living person. His heroism saved a life. A motive for living. Pottery was his life. Living things collectively. The oceans are teeming with life. The course of existence of an individual. The actions and events that occur in living. He hoped for a new life in Australia. The organic phenomenon that distinguishes living organisms from non-living ones. There is no life on the moon. The period between birth and the present time. I have known him all his life. The period from the present until death. He appointed himself emperor for life. The period during which something is functional, as between birth and death. The period during which something is functional, as between birth and death. The period during which something is functional, as between birth and death.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.